Welcome back, man. I guess, in the grand scheme of things, 11 months isn't really that long, but it just seems like you went through a whole lot over the course of 11 months. So I guess right now, how does it feel to be back on a fight week getting ready to compete?
Excited. I still have the same feelings that I had last June, just excited, motivated, and hungry to, take this opportunity that I prepared so hard with my team, my coaches, just go out there and finally be here in fight week. We're 3-4 days away from fighting. Like you said, been through a lot. COVID definitely took a toll on my body and took me away from a flyweight title shot. A lot of opportunities, but I take it with a grain of salt. I'm thankful for my health. I'm thankful to be here. It showed me a lot. Life is a marathon, not a sprint. So,
can you talk about the COVID experience, right? Because here you are, like a phenomenal athlete in prime shape, and we hear it's not supposed to affect people like that. What was it like for you, knowing it's kind of like this invisible thing, right? Like, I guess an injury is probably easier to deal with. What the hell was this like?
Yeah, speaking with my coaches and other media and UFC personnel this week, I was like, it was frustrating. Like injuries, you can kind of have a timeline of, all right, you're 4 to 6 weeks out from, getting back to stuff. Like I didn't know with COVID, I didn't know, like it was basically by day that my body strand could do, what else happened. I was on blood thinners, I had pneumonia, I had vertigo. Vertigo was horrible, and the blood clots as well. I was on blood thinners, like I said, for like 4 months. So like I said, it's almost easier to have an injury than having COVID, and I always took COVID serious. If I, obviously people are dying from it, but like I said, I take care of myself. I'm healthy. I rest, I recover, I eat well. Very well conditioned. I thought that if I had it, it'd be like a flu bug kind of. Man, it was not a flu bug for me. It was intense, but I think everything happens for a reason. There's a reason why things were removed from my life. Let me focus on other things, and like I said, just 11 months of it wasn't like I was sitting on the couch, laid up. I was training. I was doing things that I couldn't do. If I wasn't able to do martial arts, then I was, jumping on the cycling bike, riding, 50 to 100 miles a day, getting the conditioning up. So I was able to, really, really expand my cardiovascular, load, through that. So I was always training. Like I felt like I never missed a beat when I came right back to the gym. Everything felt good. The movement, the speed, the power, the vision. I just feel like this is the most complete martial artist that I'll be stepping inside this cage on Saturday.
That's awesome. So it sounds like you try to keep things as positive as possible. I just wondered what this time was like for you mentally, because you think about the setbacks you had, and then you get the great comeback, and everything's going good again. Now it's like, how much do I have to go through in life? Like, how much do I have to deal with? I mean, was there any time during this stretch that you got down? Like, why do I have the worst luck ever?
Balance. Just figuring out balance in life, with career, life. Life throws things at you, like all of us. We're going through this pandemic, and people are losing loved ones and losing jobs, and I just was counting my blessings. I had my son's healthy. I still have a roof over my head. I have a job that's, will be there when I'm healthy. And a lot of opportunity. It could be worse. I could be coming off a knockout loss or a loss, and then have to deal with that shit again. You know what I mean? I was like, well, I've been through worse. I could say, a 3-fight skid is, this is pretty bad to come over, but I think that learning and growing process of going through that in my career, in my life, and where I was at, helped me just mentally to understand and cope with it, not get myself down about losing opportunity to fight for a world title, because it's right there. I'm right there. I just gotta stay focused and stay hungry and get healthy first off. And those opportunities will present itself. I'm on the right path. I kept telling myself I'm on the right path. I'm doing what I need to do. I'm showing up every day, and, putting those small deposits in for the big deposit on Saturday.
Speaking like a mature man, does it feel like you're growing up at this point?
I'm about to be 30, man. I got some white hairs in my beard and shit.
That's awesome. Talk about watching the title fight that you were supposed to be in, right? What was that experience like for you?
Yeah, you know what? That was actually a cool experience to watch. You got to see those guys, and Davison showed a lot of holes, and Moreno showed a lot of things that exploited his weaknesses. The wrestling. I think the strikes on the breaks with Figgy's having his hands down was a huge thing, and pressure on that wrestling. The takedowns. Obviously, the low blow, I called that. I said it was going to be a majority draw because of that. I think that if Moreno had, more pop in his punch, he could, get Davison hurt and take him out. And I think if Davison didn't cut as much weight, wasn't as fatigued, in those rounds, he could have, had more, pop on his punch to take Moreno out. Nonetheless, it was a great fight. I'm excited to, hopefully, have an entanglement with one of those guys in the future. But first and foremost, we're focused on Rob. It's a great opportunity for me in my career to showcase, my skills against Rob.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you about that. I mean, 35 now, which I think you had said, look, I'll go to 25 for a title, but I don't really want to do it for non-title. But is that still the path? Like, hey, I'll take 35 as long as you need me to, but really I want that 25 title?
I'm looking at being, two-time weight division champion. That's my goals. So whatever comes first, I know we have kind of a little circus act up front with Aljamain and Jan. They have to run that back. Aljamain just had neck surgery, so that's going to be prolonged for a little bit. I feel like this fight right here is a title eliminator. So, I finish Rob on Saturday. I have options. I have options to go at bantamweight, be next in line for that. It works out perfectly for me. It's you look back in November and the reason COVID and things were taken away from my life, but it set me up for better and more opportunities. I stayed on the path, stayed focused, and stayed driven. So I know I win this fight Saturday, I can have next in line for a bantamweight title shot, and Figgy and them fight a few weeks after me. I was already training for a 5-round fight. They were training for a 5-round fight. Hopefully none of us get injured in there. We come out unscathed, and we can make that fight happen, sooner than later. And that's in a perfect world, but a lot of things kind of fall into place with that.
Yeah, but hey, you could conceivably end the year as a 2-division champion.
Could possibly, could possibly.
All right. Talk about the matchup with Rob, as you said, title eliminator. I mean, he's here for a reason, right? What do you think of his skill set and what he brings to the table?
I feel like, being top 5 in the world, you're skilled, you're tough, you're talented. You deserve to be there. You worked your way up there. I just feel like he's never been in a high prolific fight. He's never been in a main event exposure, never been in a 5-round fight. I feel like he has a lot of boxes that need to be checked personally for him, and I was in that position years ago. And you have to just rise to the occasion. So we'll see how bad Rob wants this fight, how bad Rob wants to stay at the top of the division, because I know this is where I belong. I've been at the top, been a world champion, fell back down, picked myself up numerous times, and dusted myself off and continued to climb up to where I'm at now. And it's it's a lot. It's a lot being in the main event in a high prolific fight, and you're facing Cody Garbrandt. You're not facing Marlon Moraes. You're not facing a Ricky Simone. You're not facing a Sergio Pettis. You're facing a hungry Cody Garbrandt that's ready to get back to his throne.
I like it. Last thing for me, I mean, I don't think I've ever seen you in a boring fight, so I don't think that's a concern. But do you feel like, you're going out there, because of all the things that are on the table, right, all the options, do you feel like you got to go out there and, like, prove something or do something special, or is that just kind of what happens when you're executing?
Honestly, I feel like I've proved myself time and time again, and it's always good to remind people, who you are. And so however the fight presents itself, whatever Rob wants to bring out and do, my preparation for this fight camp was very uncomfortable, because I know what it's like to be in a 25-minute fight and pushing the pace, so I put myself in uncomfortable positions inside training camp this whole camp, things I didn't want to do, things I got back to the roots of, what made me who I am today, and just had a great camp. I mean, I couldn't be more thankful for the camp and how it fell into place, and just the game plan that we have and the preparation. I mean, the preparation was second to none. I don't think that I can look back on a fight to see that I trained this hard or smart and physically, emotionally, and mentally prepared myself to go in there and be a 25-minute, pace that my adversary in Rob Font will not be able to withstand.
Not to focus too much on COVID and how it's affected you, but are you worried about any long-term effects that maybe we aren't aware of yet?
Honestly, I feel like I probably had that in my mind when I was going through the COVID experience and the symptoms and the struggles that I was going through. But I kind of just put that in the back of my mind. I feel like I had a great doctor that has a lot of resources, that we were checking a lot of things out, bi-weekly, to make sure that my body could withstand, the trauma that goes inside a fight camp. We literally go in and beat the shit out of each other every single day, multiple times a day for 8 to 10 weeks straight to come inside a cage to fight, to, better our life. So I first and foremost needed to know that my body can withstand that kind of stress level that I was going to put on to be able to go and put on a 5-round performance. So I just kind of put that into my mind. I feel like I'm healthier than I've ever been. And going through that, like I've never taken my health for granted, especially with the kidney infection that I had prior to 2020. That landed me in the hospital, and leading up to the Sun South fight, the infection came back 10 days before, so I had to go to a IV fusion center and get an antibiotic drip 10 days leading up to the fight. So I've been here before. I've been with some health concerns, and I just know that my body, regenerates pretty well. I'm young. I take care of myself. I'm not out partying, drinking, or doing heavy drugs on the weekend. That's not me. I think that down the road maybe, but as right now I'm healthy. I feel great. I'm confident. Like I said, I haven't prepared like this probably since even. I don't think I've ever prepared for a fight like this, even with the Cruz fight. The Cruz fight was probably a very, very vigorous training, hard training, and stylistically it was just a different matchup for me. But this is the hardest that I prepared in preparation for a fight, because this is a huge opportunity. I've been here before and it slipped out of my hands. And I know with what a win comes, and I'm prepared for that, and very excited for that as well.
I was wondering if you had reached 100% after getting sick, but it sounds like you said you've never been in better shape in your life.
Yeah, I've never been able to push myself. Well, I've been able to push myself to this limit, but I literally every day in training push myself to the breaking point, tried to break myself inside there. And I think that's what, I'm not fighting my adversaries, I'm fighting myself, within myself. If I'm able to defeat myself, defeat my demons, be at peace with myself, once I go inside that octagon, there's not a man that can break me, because I've already tried to break myself time and time again throughout the camp, throughout my life, and here I am still standing and hungry to fight, and huge opportunity in front of me.
So how long did it take for you to feel like you were at 100% after being sick?
Man, it took, I would say 6 to 8 months of like finally feeling myself. So yeah, it wasn't like till, we landed the fight right before. I was like, I did like a 3-week mini camp where I was like really stressing my body, doing this like basically a mini camp of camp to get, tip-top shape before the fight camp, kind of unraveled. And that's when I knew like that my stress level was high. My body was reacting well. I was recovering well. I used the Whoop app and the Aura app, Aura Ring, to monitor my sleep, my HRV, my resting heart rate, and having those kind of data and technology to see what kind of strain that you're going through, how your body's recovering, was a huge tool. The last 10, 11 months that I've got on the Whoop and Aura. So those are great data to have, with sleep, recovery, the strain that you're training at. So I feel like those are huge tools to use.
So you said you never pushed yourself as hard as you did have going into this camp. Is that because you're looking at because you've been at the top before? Is it because you're making another run, but not just at 1 belt, but 2 belts? Yeah,
I feel like pushing myself like this in preparation for this fight it didn't feel like this is what needed to be done. This is what literally I woke up every day to do. Like, all right, I'm going to go break myself. All right, this is what we're going to go do. This is what, we're going to put these small deposits in daily for the big deposit on Saturday. And that's what we kept saying. These are small deposits, man, small deposits. It was horrible. It was I'm most uncomfortable I've ever been inside training, mentally, physically, emotionally. And that's how for me, I have to be able to defeat myself going in there. And if I don't do that, you'll see an emotional fighter that just doesn't really give a shit about anything, that goes in there and fights recklessly with no aim, But my purpose is to be the best in the world, and I battled my demons time and time again, and I prepared very well for this fight, and I'm at peace with myself. I'm excited. I've had a smile on my face since I got to fight week. Just to be able to. There's a time in my life that I didn't want to do media, that wasn't enjoyable to speak to or talk about fighting, because my heart and passion was not in fighting. I was so taken away from fighting and everything about it. I feel like I was even going in the gym just clocking in and clocking out. You know, it felt like a job to me. And this is something I love to do. I feel like this is what I was put on this earth to do. And I think every time that I try to fight that battle of drifting away from fighting, that stuff happens to me. So just knowing that this is what I was set out to do, it becomes a lot easier. It's a lot easier waking up at 4 or 5 in the morning and going and putting yourself in a freezing cold pool or a cycling ride that's, you know, it's 30-some degrees out, freezing your ass off. You know, putting the extra work in, it makes you hungry, it makes you appreciate it.
You feel this when you were at the top of your game, or what was the catalyst that made you change?
I feel like honestly winning the title kind of just made me, it wasn't what I thought it would be, you know, and I didn't feel fulfilled with being a world champion. I thought it was going to be more than, I fixated on it for so long in my life, and it took me through a lot of my dark times to have that light at the end of the tunnel of being a world champion, and I did it. You know, a lot of people around me are like, oh wow, it was exciting, it was this and that, but for me, I just didn't feel fulfilled. And now that I just know that I had to set my goals higher, you know, and I have very, very high goals for myself, and I think that's what keeps me motivated. I don't even say motivated because motivation comes and goes. You know, you can be motivated on Monday and by Tuesday that shit's gone, you know. So I'm driven.
How much higher can you go than the belt?
Man, it's so much. I think being a world champion, so many doors open for you outside of fighting. You know, you become a partner with the UFC. You know, defending the title. You know, I've been there now. I want to, you know, reclaim the title, defend the title. You know, do other things in life that I'm passionate about. You know, I have a child that looks up to me, and I want to show him through no matter what, you know, life throws at you, adversity, losses, setbacks, you can overcome it all. You know, just keep your dream alive, stay focused, stay driven, and stay positive about it, because, you know, it's not always going to be, you know, the highest of highs, and just like it's not always going to be the lowest of lows. And I think truly finding that balance in life is what helped me understand that, you know, just to enjoy this process.
So a lot of it's been what's been going on outside of the UFC, like becoming a father and like finding that balance.
Yeah, it's other shit. I mean, a lot of people probably forget that, you know, we're humans as well. You know, I mean, we have the same problems that arise when we wake up, you know. You know, the devil doesn't take a day off. You know, he's always kind of put doubt into you, and, you know, if your dreams and you're successful, then it gets harder because then you have more things to do and to focus on, you know. So, you know, we have the same feelings that they do. You know, I think that some people think that we're different because they see us on TV or we're this self-proclaimed world champion. We're still humans at the end of the day. We still tie our shoes, you know, we still tie our shoes the same way. And
you still clean diapers?
Yeah, man, we're potty training our son right now. He's doing pretty well on it, but we got to give him incentives. Like, we took candy away from him, but we give him gum, so he's like, you know, he gets excited, you know. So I'm still changing diapers, but he's getting it, man. He's getting it. He's doing pretty well, you know. A couple times, you know, it's fun, man. Honestly, that's probably like the best title that I ever held, was being a father. And Kai is such a blessing in my life, and, you know, I just want to showcase to him like what hard work and having a dream and never giving up on can do for you in life. If it's whatever he set out to do. You know, just to have that dream and be driven and love every day of your life and know it's a process. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. You'll get there eventually.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Welcome back, champ.
Thank you, buddy.
Well, the beard looks good, by the way.
Dude, the war beard. I can't wait to cut this thing off. It is. Okay.
Is it just for camp? You're not going to keep it?
Yeah, I just do, I grew it out all camp. Last time I did the hair and the beard, and it was just too much, man.
You grew that just in camp?
Just in camp.
Damn,
yeah.
That's strong.
6 weeks, yeah. 6 weeks, yeah.
That's a man's beard right there.
That's a man's beard, yeah. It's tough.
So one of the things, and this is the last one, then we'll dump the COVID stuff. A lot of people say that one of the things that mostly affected them is the lung area, but you said in this training that you were able to push yourself cardio-wise further than you've ever been. So obviously that wasn't an area where you were affected?
You know, it was actually funny that they bring that up. Yeah, I had pneumonia, and not knowing I had COVID through this whole process, you know, I just felt like I was literally in fight camp fighting for a world title. I was like, this is the grind, this is what happens, no excuses, put the work in. You know, and I started cycling, road cycling. Actually, Vinny Murdoch, who's actually out here on The Ultimate Fighter right now, had a brain. It's Moya, M-O-Y-A. Had to have like a brain surgery. So his doctor said he had to do, to help, what would help him heal better would to be, doing cardio. Well, I don't like to run. I'm not a big, cycling's cool. You can go a lot of places cycling. Where we're at in Sacramento, American River Trail, there's a lot of bike paths and trails. So I got started cycling, and that's what my doctor said was like, as much as I'm cycling, and we were doing,